How much is a lot?
I said it's 8 hours a day. Don't be sorry, be better.
Any advice you would give to people who want to look into starting this?
Yeah.
Especially in Singapore. Run! This is Dr. Chow,
Hello.
as you have seen him on TV and Instagram and everywhere. So thank you for letting me come here
and
seeing the practice.
Yes.
So basically, let's get right to it. Yeah, so Dr. Chow started his practice at Atlas Vets, and do you want to just introduce a bit?
Oh yeah, so we started last year, February, so we are around 1 year, 3 months old, and then it has been quite an adventure, a lot of obstacles along the way. And by the end of the day, no regrets, I guess.
No regrets.
Yeah.
And how long have you been open now? About
1 year, 3 months. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Months, yeah.
So, and you opened it sort of close to the pandemic, or like?
So we opened it like we got the shop lot during the pandemic. Then the renovations got delayed for 3 months. Because of the lack of materials, there's not enough cement in Singapore, etc., etc. So everything dragged on, and then we opened last year, February. Yeah.
Wow. So it sounds like a huge journey, and obviously it's not an easy thing to do. So I just wanted to know, why did you decide to start your clinic? Like, what inspires you?
Yeah.
What was your story really? And also about the challenges and realities of opening this.
So I guess my own personal reason is more of to advance my clinical endeavors. Like my clinical interest is because it is surgery, and then it was limited by equipment. Then it was challenging to encourage my bosses at the point in time to actually invest in the equipment. Then for me, I just felt like, okay, then I will just buy the equipment for myself, and that was the motivation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you can't play by that set of rules. You decided to invent your own game.
Yeah, so I guess
take away the limitations.
Yes, so then now we really invested in like 100,000 in like surgical equipment, and then that allowed me to do things, or at least try to do things at a certain level that I try to aspire for.
And how did you start? Was it just like you, one person team, or with your partner, or like how did you find your staff? Because now you have a team of 10 people, is that right? Yeah.
My wife is also a vet, so we started the clinic together, and the first group of nurses, we just sort of got them from like online. So we just hired, we just posted an ad, and then we're hiring, we did interviews. A friend, an ex-colleague joined us, but everyone else actually were new to us.
Oh.
Yeah, so, and then along the way, more ex-colleagues or more friends joined us, and before you know it, we have like 10.
Wow, that's so cool. And within a year, that's quite quick, would you say?
I'm not sure, but I guess then it's stressful where you realize that this place need to fit 10 people.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, at the end of the day, it's like, oh, there's a certain expectation. Like, how do we, at the very fundamentally, at the very end of the day, we need to be able to pay them. Yeah. So then that adds a bit to the stress, I guess.
And on top of that, you are still doing clinical work, so it's not just management.
Yes. So I still practice 5 days a week. I guess that's still the primary goal. Like the clinic.
You still love the clinical stuff, basically.
Yes. So the clinic is a platform. How I see is the clinic is a platform for me to do surgery, to practice medicine at a certain level. The clinic itself is not the goal. The clinic I see as a tool.
Okay, for you to, you know, like you said, further your advancements, interest in surgery, so that you can do that in this clinic.
So I guess then if I need a particular equipment, it's a bit like playing Sims. So I just click, and then sort of just the numbers just turn red on the computer. I don't really feel it. But I guess then so there is a struggle. Like I learn more and more painfully that I need to be able to afford the equipment at the end of the day. So it's a whole learning curve behind it.
And it sounds like your team is new in a sense that you haven't really worked together before. So how are you going about creating that culture of Atlas, and like what does Atlas stand for basically?
It definitely helps when, especially at the beginning. At the beginning, I was like at the clinic 6 days a week, so it definitely helped to build the culture when you're here every day. And after that, now working 5 days a week. And as for the friends that joined us, our clinical interests align, like our philosophy align in the sense that we want to do. I mean, I guess everyone want to do what's best possible. And for me, I feel like then I need to facilitate that role, give them the opportunity to do what's best. So that comes back to, let's say this equipment is buggy, it's not doing that well, and I guess it's my job to like make sure it gets sorted out. So otherwise, I can't blame the nurse, for example, that why they are not performing at their best when they are limited by equipment.
So like on that note of like making the practice the best that it can be, what is the actual realities of getting this started, and any advice you would give to people who want to look into starting this, especially in Singapore? Run!
Something else is not worth it.
Is it really not worth it though?
I guess it's a lot harder than you will ever imagine. I do feel like there's so many sides to the equation. It's always easier looking from the outside, and then now when I like getting immersed and experiencing it full hand, I had no idea what I signed up for. So I guess then I guess
it's very honest of you.
So I guess the main thing is then you just need to remind yourself what you're doing this for, like not losing sight of the why, the motivation behind it, and like if the underlying reason, the motivation still makes sense, then you just need to push forward.
Has there ever been a day where you felt like you don't think this is working, or like did some negative event that happened that caused you to realize that okay, maybe this is not cut out, or you still feel like yes, this will work and things?
I guess I still feel like things will work, but we definitely need to be nimble. We need to adapt because it's a changing world, it's a changing local market, and then we need to make adjustments. So I guess it's not so much bailing, it's more of like the conventional sense of doing things most likely wouldn't work anymore. So like,
what does that mean? Like,
for example, like when I was still an employee, so I was an employee like 1.5 years ago, the salary package has changed drastically, just because of sheer shortage of manpower all over the world. Like we're not just competing locally. A lot of the vets and nurses are like migrating to Hong Kong, Australia.
Really?
So I guess then
that's so weird because in the UK, vets are migrating to Australia as well for like better weather, pay, cost of living, and things. So that's very interesting. That's happening here as well.
So in terms of like the math, when we're looking at, we need to make adjustments because like then the profit margin definitely affected. It's definitely affected. Then in terms of like how long we take to recuperate the capital, we need to make adjustments. Because like payroll itself, realistically speaking, it's like 60% of revenue, and then medication is like 30%, and then appliances is like 10-20%. So profit margin traditionally used to be like 15-20% if I'm running a tight ship. Now the profit margin is aging more towards 10%.
10. Oh wow, okay, so it's getting less.
So I guess then you also okay, like it comes back to then you just take longer to recuperate the capital. Then you think about other things in play, like how long is your lease?
The building and the maintenance and
stuff. So ideally you want to recuperate before you get kicked out, right? So I mean, at the end of the day, you do hope to renew the lease, but you need to prepare for the worst case scenario. So then you start planning. Like you don't start digging the well only when you're thirsty. You need to start digging the well now. So then it's challenging because like it's not something that I can ask other clinic or practice owners for advice because they are facing the same challenges. So other staff I can ask them because they've been opening a clinic for 10 years already. But then this is a new thing that all of us are struggling with. And then in terms of like HR also, I mean, like dealing with people, it's also it's so different. I think that's different era, different demographic, have different expectations. There's a different way of trying to motivate them and encourage them. So that's another thing that I think a lot of practice owners are trying to learn now. How do you connect with the current workforce?
Sounds like so many things on your plate, and on top of that, you are doing clinical work.
Yeah, so I guess more of them. There's sort of like sometimes I do see it as a distraction. Like then I.
What is the distraction? Like the management side?
Yes, from being a vet. Like, what I like and love is being a vet.
Yeah.
Not so much like playing manager. So, but then that takes a lot of time and energy. But oh well, you know what I mean. So I guess then just have to figure out a way to do it in a way that is sustainable.
Yeah, of course.
And try not to upset too many people on the way. Yeah. So. It is definitely a learning curve.
It sounds very, very challenging. But what are the best things about having this clinic then? So far, like if there are any incidents or like any rewarding moments where you felt like it's worth it? Oh no, that's such a long talk.
I don't feel. Whenever I do surgery, honestly speaking, whenever I do surgery, like whenever I do surgery and then like I had I guess there's a movie I really like called Jiro Dreams of Sushi, where like as a chef, as someone that loves the art, then how he able to devote himself to the craft because of the tools that he has. He's not limited by the tools. Then the limitations is himself. So all he has to do is work on himself. Every day he show up to work and then try to improve. Then when I do surgery, I feel like I'm in that position. Like I am the bottleneck. Then I just need to work on myself to be better, and I have the resources to be able to perform the surgery to the best of my capability. Yeah. So
I guess it sounds like when you're doing surgery, you're in your flow state, and that is your zone of genius.
And it's only not only possible, but it's made possible because of the clinic. So I do cherish that. So that is definitely. Then I guess then beyond that, I guess the other cliche stuff, when the pet is better.
Yeah.
All this, definitely those moments are memorable. So I mean, I guess that applies for any vet, right?
Yeah.
Sick patient come in, all the vets will say the same stuff.
But also when I was interviewing your staff just now, the theme of like teaching and mentoring came up quite a lot. So it sounds like you're really open, or like you're really good in teaching the new people that come here. Like, what's that like?
So I try to, because I do feel like I am only one person, but the clinic can be so much more. So the clinic can be an amplification of my philosophy and my ideals. But I guess but I cannot just demand someone to be better. I need to give them the opportunity, the training. That's what I try to do. And also depends on the individual. They must be motivated to learn. They must want to be better.
Yeah, of course.
And I guess we are lucky that we have people who want to be better. They want to be in this industry for a long time, and they want to be. We have a saying here is don't be sorry, be better. So like if you make mistakes, okay. But saying sorry doesn't cut it. Like how do you be better next time? Because at the end of the day, the mistake said and done. You go back to work. You go back home. You need to show up next day. How do we pick ourselves up and be better? I guess that's the.
Oh my god, I love that.
I'm not sure where I got that from though. I'm not sure I got it from, but don't be sorry, be better.
That's really good, and especially in this sort of climate where the vet industry is in a crisis, because like vets are leaving, vet nurses are leaving, and things. That is a very important philosophy to have. But I was also wondering, because you're in in the industry for, is it 9 years now that you've practiced? So like definitely more than 5 years. You're calculating. He's calculating.
8 years. 8 years. Yeah.
8 years. Yeah. So there was a survey done in the UK, I think in Australia as well, that most vet graduates leave the profession after like 4 or 5 years. So what made you stay? And like any advice you would give to people who are very worried about this? And like, you know, the typical issues that we face are like burnout, compassion fatigue, and like how do you overcome all of that and stay passionate in the job?
I guess easily said than done. I guess comes out to finding a reason why I do feel like, even for myself, there's a period of time I was doing something else. I did a career change also.
Yes.
Yeah, so I did something else. Then I guess find a reason.
But you came back, so it's like.
So I guess a lot of times it's very similar to why we apply to vet school to begin with. Like we want to be in a position to help animals.
Yeah.
And then along the way, things change. The workplace changed, the environment changed, and just realize it's not worth it anymore. So then you figure out a way to take control. There's definitely nothing wrong with taking a break. And
how long was your break? Just like
just 6 months.
Oh, 6 months.
6 months, and then I started volunteering at the local SPCA. I took a 6 months break. After that, I started volunteering, and then I got offered a position at the SPCA. And I took it. Yeah.
Oh yeah, just to mention that you are also Singapore Veterinary Association president.
Yes.
Is that right? Yeah. On top of all the other.
Yeah. So that's also another thing. That's another thing that my wife frowns upon. Like she feels like spinning too many plates at the same time. But then the SVA I do see as an opportunity to give back to the profession, an opportunity to expand my impact. Yeah, so that's something I don't regret.
And also because you have a family as well.
Yes,
to take care. Yeah.
So like my daughter is like almost 2 years old. She's turning 2 next month.
Oh my god.
And they're growing up so fast. I feel like, why do I need to sign up myself for like more work, especially if it's unpaid, right? So I guess the big part of it is you need to find a why. Like, why bother?
Yeah.
Why do these things? Like, I mean, the reason is different for everyone. When you look at other industries, money is a big motivator.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not so much here. Then I guess then you think about why do you want to wake up and go to work, and then we're in a position to in such a way where we can focus on the direct impact of our actions, so that our pets, our patients getting better. The next thing is then focusing on getting better at the craft itself, like be ultrasound, surgery, internal medicine. There's the possibilities are infinite, really, and the problem is when too many things to learn. So I do feel like you just need to pick a poison. But some people who are a little bit, they are jack of all trades. They are good at a little bit at everything.
Yeah.
And that's also what they want. There's nothing wrong with that. So that's fair. So it comes back to, even if you don't know what you're interested in, then just putting yourself out there,
getting exposed and
experience. So then giving yourself a chance at the end of the day. And also realizing that if it didn't work previously because of environment, then just change the environment, go find a clinic.
Like innovating and changing.
Yes, and also next thing is then talk about alternative careers, right? There are a lot of careers out there allow you to leverage on your veterinary degree beyond the clinic.
Yeah.
And also some people locum because they realize that they love this job, but they only love it in smaller doses, which is also fair.
Because it's pretty intense.
Yeah, so then that's also fair. There's no one way to be a vet.
Yeah, of course.
That's the and if you need a break, it's okay. I mean, at the end of the day, there's no point hating yourself and then suffering in silence. Well, it says you're not a tree, so if you don't like it, just move.
You're not a tree.
Yeah, like there's no point. If you, I mean, someone just told me recently. I mean, it's a common saying: you can't pour from an empty cup, right?
Yes.
You just need to find a way that fits for you.
Yeah.
If you don't know yet, then just flip a coin and see how it goes.
Yeah, definitely. Like speaking to other people and also your staff as well. Like in the veterinary job, there's always bad days. There's also good days, but like when there's difficult days, because you're so emotionally invested in your patient, you get upset clients or a not wanted outcome, it can hit hard on you sometimes, isn't it? And it's not like you just clock out after 6 or 7 and be like, that's it. So it sounds like you really care so much for your patients, the animal welfare in Singapore, improving and everything, and you also have a family. Like, how on earth do you cope with all of that? And like, any tips on how you unwind or like balance all of this? Because basically.
I guess lucky for me, I don't see surgery as a job.
Okay.
So I see surgery as a hobby. Like, I see as like when people are into plants, they buy plants and they just take a dive into it, like how to keep the plant alive. They study the soil, all the things. Then for me, surgery is that. So I do feel when I study for surgery, when I read the textbooks, or I go for conferences or workshops, I don't see it as working. Luckily, at least for now. I guess then, so I find it enjoyable, I find it fun. I guess that's what works for me. But next thing is then there'll be times that I just don't do anything. I guess.
What do you mean by don't do anything?
Just mindlessly scrolling my phone and just like so I don't know what I'm scrolling sometimes. And I guess that helps sometimes, like just not thinking about things. I guess and also a big part of it is when I look at my daughter is comes back to unknown to be someone she can look up to. A lot of the vet association work is also because, really speaking, because my wife and I are both vets, so there's a very good chance she wants to be a vet. And then the struggle comes when we do know all the challenges and suicide rates, the harsh realities of being a vet. Then I see the vet association work as a platform for me to make changes such that when she grows up and does become a vet, it's a kinder place for her.
Oh my god!
So that is my motivation. So that is why I try.
That is very admirable to have that goal.
Because I guess I don't want to like step on her dreams, right? Like she'll be like, both her parents are this. Why can't I do the same thing?
That is true,
And at the end of the day, like even for me when I was a kid, I never took advice from my parents. So no matter how much, I can imagine no matter how much I discourage her, she will still want to be a vet. Then the least I can do is actually like bit by bit in my small way, hopefully build a kind of industry
will be a better place. That is very, very true, because how the industry has kind of like ended up now, I guess it's kind of because society has like changed their views towards animal healthcare and things. So definitely if you can change, like we all can change. That
for sure. So then, and next as the president, I have leverage. So it's a privilege, to be honest, to be able to be in this position. I have to make full use of it.
Amazing. That's like, I didn't know about that, but that's very cool. So a quick break from the heavy questions. So people have posted some questions on Instagram, so we'll just do some quick fire ones. And then we'll end with 3 more questions that I have, and then that's pretty much it. Try not to make this too long. So the first question from my followers on Instagram is, what skincare product do you use?
Honestly, wait, what? Really?
Yes, what skincare product do you use is one of the questions.
Because my compassion is so poor.
No, it's probably so good because you're balancing so many things, but you don't look stressed.
Oh, I sleep a lot though. I guess there's one a practical tip. It's not like fluff, right? I sleep a lot.
How much is a lot?
I sleep at least 8 hours a day.
8 hours? Wow.
At least.
You can still get 8 hours despite your like busy schedule and stuff.
Yeah, at least yes, somehow. So then you need to make choices. I have to admit I'm not the best social friend. Like if my friends want to meet, I'll probably turn up at every 3rd event.
Fair enough,
I realized, okay, I met them like 3 months ago, it's too soon. I'll meet them later. So I'm not always, my attendance within my social group is not the best. But I sleep 6 hours a day. It comes down to in order for us to perform, because it's a very mentally challenging job. So then if I don't have enough sleep, all these things, I can't perform
You need a clear mind.
Yeah,
right?
so then I try to sleep. But my facial product preference is whatever my wife uses, honestly speaking.
Really? You just use her stuff?
Yeah, but nowadays she'll just like, stop using my expensive stuff. This is the one you'll be using. I'll be like, oh, okay, I'll be using.
Oh my goodness, okay, we need to ask your wife what product you use then.
Yeah.
Okay, so other things about veterinary more related stuff. So this follower has said vets in Singapore have higher stress levels compared to other countries. Is it true and why?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
I don't think it's more stressful here. I think it's stressful everywhere because the realities of veterinary medicine is very similar. I mean, when you work in UK and when you talk to myself and my staff, you find that the challenges are pretty much the same. So, sometimes the nuances can be different, the cultural differences are there. But generally speaking, I think it's the same amount of stress in the sense that we are trying to do the best we can for the patient within the resources that we have. Yeah.
I say that comparing like the UK setup and here, our consultations in the UK are like 15 minutes and they're back to back. Like there's no gap, which is so short. And I found that you do yours 30 minutes as a standard, isn't it? And you actually go through, like I saw you did the admit this morning, you actually talked to them about where you're going to make the incision, what suture materials and stuff. That's so in-depth. And you even did a drawing of the testicles for the castration, which was like visual and very good. Like, has this always been the case in Singapore, or is this something you just brought into your own clinic, basically?
I'm not sure. In my previous practice, I didn't have a whiteboard. So I brought my own whiteboard to draw.
Wow, okay,
Then of course, it makes sense that now my own clinic, I just have the whiteboard on the wall. Because I myself, I'm a visual thinker. So and then part of communication work two ways, right? Like, just because I say something doesn't mean the listener actually understands. And as a vet, I just do my best to communicate what's going to happen to the pet, so then the pet owner is on board with the whole procedure we're doing, treatment plan, because they have to understand. Otherwise, they don't feel involved, and they have to be involved.
Yes, it is their pet, so
So I guess they're just trying to, so when they listen to what I'm talking, at least I draw, and then they can at least hopefully better understand what's happening.
I'm going to take that tip actually and get a whiteboard for consults. That's so useful.
It comes back to nowadays with social media and everything, it's hard to retain people's attention. Like, don't scroll away, you know what I mean? So, so if I'm just talking, they will zone out, they'll be on the phone. So if I start drawing, then hopefully they find it more engaging, they can actually get attention.
That's such a good tip. So, and then there's quite a number of questions on pay. So there's questions on, is the pay significantly different to other countries? How much do they earn? And then what else? Working hours as well. Like, what are the working hours and salary for small animal vets? And is there lots of pets that have pet insurance in Singapore?
Pet insurance is getting more and more common.
Okay.
But it's still unpopular. But there's an upward trend.
Okay.
It comes back to because the coverage is still not as good compared to UK or Australia.
Okay.
But it's also a vicious cycle. You need, how insurance works, you need more pet owners on board. They have a bigger portfolio, and then the coverage can be better.
Okay.
So hopefully over time it will get better.
Okay, makes sense.
Because right now it's like there are too little people sign up for it.
Fair.
So then in terms of, the insurance is also a business. They have to make it sustainable. So then the next question about working hours, usually is around 44 hours a week.
Oh, okay. Ours is more 40 hours. But obviously we stay back and then it becomes like 40 or 50.
Sometimes we stay back as well. It's hard to turn like last minute.
Yes, of course. You can't just turn them away.
So like I would say for Singapore standards, the hours are not too long. But compared to Australia, where work-life balance is like 10 out of 10, it's a bit different. But nowadays, there is more emphasis about giving people time to go home and recuperate. 44 hours is about the norm.
Okay, that's like slightly more than us. Anyway, about pay, I just wanted to say that in the UK, like a fresh grad is about 30k, 35k now, and the average salary of like a more senior vet is between maybe 50 to 60k for small animal vets a year, or even 70k, but the median is around 60k, I would say. So how does that 60k pounds? Yeah, so I don't know how that compares.
But I guess then the standard of living is different. I guess
kind of different. Yeah, you can't really compare it that way.
Yeah, so the salary for vet in Singapore right now for a fresh grad, because to put the context, right? When I was a fresh grad, my pay was like 3.5, 3.8 a month.
Okay.
And then now it's like 5.
Oh wow, okay.
Up.
Yeah.
And then for experienced vet, it'll be like 7k
a month. Okay.
Yeah.
So does it depend on like hospital setting and like GP setting, or doesn't really?
Not really.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The tricky thing is also in terms of is also a bidding war, in the sense that it really depends on how desperate that clinic is. So there are certain instances where if you got lucky and this clinic is really desperate, they will pay well beyond the market.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So, so then that's also the challenge that we face as a new clinic that opened in recent times, because the payroll expenses really ballooned compared to the last decade.
Yeah. And especially salaries, like not the main thing that you can reward the staff. I suppose there's also like CPDs or courses, and also time off and like holidays and things. So I guess it really depends. Like you can't just compare like salary from UK and Singapore to say like, oh, okay, therefore Singapore is better to work in.
But I do think like
about a lot
if for example 60k pounds, right, a year, if the clinic is desperate now, I think it's, if I experience that, that's like 100,000. If
you compare it directly.
If I experience that, I think it will be similar.
Similar. Okay.
Yeah, really like so it'll be like a 8k plus
a month.
I think if I experience that, that's very achievable. Like I think a minimum. It's so that people are so desperate now. If you're a monkey with a bad degree, they will take you. I mean, that's the like, because the shortage is so high now. And then it comes into, if you remember economics, right? It's the demand supply. When the demand is high and the supply is low, then the price will be driven up.
But there was I remember now what I was going to say about the leaving home in time, leaving home on time. So you can't turn away patients that turn up for emergencies. But in the UK, what happens is we have like a dedicated night team, or we refer to like a 24-hour hospital. And it's quite, there's like a law that says you have to have 24-hour coverage. Is that similar in Singapore? And like, what's the 24-hour vet care like?
It's similar, just that the coverage doesn't need to be executed by the clinic. You can have a working arrangement with a 24-hour clinic or hospital. So then when it's near your after hours, you just sort of direct them to the hospital instead.
Cool. So another question they have was, what's the most exotic animal you have had to treat, and what changes do you have to make to treat it?
Chameleon.
Yes, tell me about that.
Yeah, so we did a few years ago we did a surgery in a chameleon.
Surgery.
Yeah, so he unfortunately was eating like wood chips, and then the wood chips caused like a foreign body obstruction. So at the point in time, in terms of like being resourceful, right, it comes back to knowing what potential resources you have to try to give the patient the best chance possible. So actually, what I did for that particular case is then I asked around for help. And then I had a friend who used to see a lot of reptiles in Australia. He came in to help with that case.
Oh wow, okay. Like an exotics vet.
Yeah, so he came in to help with that case, and then and we started to figure out what equipment we needed. And I was very lucky in the sense that I tapped into my network of like peers, colleagues, and I borrowed equipment from other clinics.
Oh, okay.
So I borrowed a Lone Star from another clinic. I didn't have a small enough tube for the surgery, so I went to another clinic to borrow it.
Oh wow. Okay.
And then it comes back to the advantage of having such a small community in Singapore. If you are not, you're not an asshole, people don't mind helping you. Yeah. So then, I mean, the surgery went well, but it was due to other reasons, the surgery was delayed. So the patient didn't make it. But yeah, but I guess that was also a very interesting experience. And I was surprised how willing the other vets were willing to.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that you help each other.
Yeah.
And how do you anesthetize a chameleon?
So we use Alphax, and we use the tongue vein.
Oh wow, that's so cool.
Yeah, so it was all my friend's idea, really.
Yeah. And the surgery, and you cut into the abdomen, and then you did the surgery. Oh my god, just like a normal, just it's like this small. Tiny, yeah.
So we use the Doppler to monitor the heart rate. And all this.
That sounds very cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, for patients.
But it's eye-opening experience. Really.
So cool. That's really cool. Would it be hard to get a job as a fresh grad vet in Singapore?
No, even if a monkey people will take.
Oh
yeah, it's true. Like warm body, they'll take any warm body with vet degree.
So okay. Well, there is a couple questions about like vet school. So I don't know whether you can explain a little bit on like the pathways, just really, really quick and like briefly.
It comes back to where you want to work at, right? Like for Singapore, there's only a few countries where we recognize the vet degree from.
Okay.
And a lot of these places, I do think that English is the primary language.
Okay. So usually, like you apply because there's no vet school in Singapore, so all of the vets that are here actually
graduated overseas.
In
a vet school, there was or is accredited by ABMA or RVC.
And is there, because I was speaking to some of your staff and you mentioned that polytechnic school, like what is that route like?
So there's a local polytechnic that has a vet nursing diploma. Okay. So you can go to that school to become a vet nurse.
Okay.
Yeah.
But you can't become a vet unless you study over.
Yes. So some of the students, they graduated for that and then they transfer the credits to vet school.
Yeah. Okay. Thoughts on mid-career switch to be a vet at 30 years old?
30?
Yeah.
30 is not old at all. So I've no thoughts. I think it's possible, highly possible. I don't think anything is stopping you. It comes with why you want to do this, and then just doing it, I guess. The next thing is, I don't think you're too old. There are some. When I was a vet student, I had a classmate that was like 45.
Yeah, I think I remember seeing people who are definitely like way older and they're fine.
Yeah, it comes back to if you don't do this and then every night you think about it for the next 10 years, then
that's true. You might as well, do it. So, any advice for finding EMS placements in Singapore? So finding like work placements. Yeah.
So I do think just need email in. Then probably need email in early. Because like the popular places probably had like vet students lined up already. So if you leave till last minute, you most probably wouldn't get a slot. A good idea would be going to places that you may want to work there next time.
Yeah, 100% agree.
Just to see the culture there. Yeah. So that there's two approaches to EMS. You do EMS at places that you never will go back. Like you can go to South Africa to do an EMS. Treat it as like a adventure or holiday. More practical sense is more for like what are you gonna work at next time.
Yeah, definitely. And then last thing is, what's the hardest part about being a vet in Singapore? We might have touched a little bit, but just to summarize.
I think it's the same answer anywhere. It's trying to remind pet owners that we are on their side. I think it's the hardest part. The way we tackle it can be different because of cultural differences, but the underlying principle is then trying to build rapport and reminding pet owners that we are here to help them. We're not here to make things difficult for them. It's just that sometimes the reality of things can be quite harsh, limited resources. There's like the financial limitations can be very real, and we are most often it's not imposed by the vets. It's imposed by a lot of reasons.
Yeah, out of our control.
Yeah, how much the machine costs, how much the drug costs.
Yeah,
like big pharma, right? All these things that we are just a small little player in this whole thing, and then like just because we are the ones standing in front of the pet owner, a lot of times the angle get misplaced on us.
Yeah.
And then how do we shrug that off and come to work the next day? That's also can be a challenge. Yeah. So then, so I would say that's the hardest part.
Okay. So lastly, a couple of like advice questions. Yeah. What advice would you give to aspiring vet students?
I would say go and volunteer at a few clinics first.
Yeah.
Just to know what you're in for. Because there's a high potential to get a cultural shock. Like after you graduate, you go to the clinic and you realize this is totally not what you want. A big part, people commonly think that they like humans, they don't want to deal, they like animals, they don't want to deal with humans, so they be a vet. But every animal that comes through the vet clinic's doors is attached to a human being. It can be the pet owner, it can be the rescue group, even the zoo, there's the zoo vet needs to deal with the zookeeper. Yeah. So then it's a very human orientated profession, then you need to be okay with it. Then you need to have your own coping mechanism, how to deal with humans, because it's a very big part of the job. And vet school, unfortunately, sometimes don't prepare you enough for it. Like there was a volunteer last time at my previous clinic. She told me that she was exploring vet school. She didn't do it in the end. And afterwards, she told me that her biggest impression was her first day shadowing me. A pet owner was like threatening to sue me. And she realized, probably too intense. To be honest, I don't remember what happened. But then she realized, okay, probably this is not what she wants.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Okay. So then, so nothing beats real life experiences.
Yes. Yeah.
Getting that unfiltered exposure. Yeah.
Definitely. So, and then next is advice you would like to give vets who want to start their own clinic.
It's harder than it looks, is my advice. And then you think about why you want to do this. If money is your motivation, the pay grade now is so much better than last time. Like there are vets outside that honestly earning more than how much I pay myself now. So if money is a motivation, this is not it. Like if freedom is a motivation, this is not it as well. There's locum vets that earn more and have more free time.
True.
Then you think about why bother? Why bother putting yourself through the pain? So because sometimes you do see some vets that retire sold to corporate, but those vets open a vet clinic in a very different economy, a very different marketplace. Talk about a rising tide, raise all boats, right? So then the industry now is very, very different. You have to do your homework really. But then what I also learned is that at the end of the day, if someone wants to do something, it's like no matter how much you discourage someone to apply the vet school, they'll still apply the vet school. So no matter how much you tell people, they will still like, yes, you just don't want another competitor. I'm just gonna open anyway. I guess then.
No, I think it's more like as long as they are aware of what challenges and then they still do it, that's fine because you are informed, isn't it?
So I guess then you just have to really be sure. The next thing is then there are economic models for vet clinic management. So then the models, a lot of it is based on the industry like 10, 20 years ago. So those need to be updated as well. So you cannot just look at, last time the margin 15%, it will still be 15%. It's definitely not anymore. So so I guess that's my advice. You need a really big, compared to if you need a big enough why. Otherwise you can't be bothered.
I think definitely it depends on how you, like what you want to do, but also the impact you want to give and like the amount of meaning you derive from like opening your own clinic. That's also very dependent on the person.
Because like even if something is, for example, if you say animal welfare is your goal, there are a lot of like affluent people who are in other industries. They are like bankers or I don't know what other industries they are from, but then in the end the amount they donated or given back to animal welfare is so much more than the individual. Just to be very honest about it. A good example would be like, you can count easily on one hand like how many celebrities like donated like millions of dollars to a particular wildlife industry or wildlife charity. Arguably, you take a step back, they have contributed more to animal welfare and wildlife more than individual vet that's like slogging. Like we're like slogging, we're fighting fire. I mean, there is impact to the patients that come through our doors, but I talk about number of animals impacted. So then it's not a bad thing to like go and do something else and earn $1 million there. Yeah. And you're completely happy there. And like, so you really have to be satisfied with the journey. Like
because if you're enjoying the journey, then it's not the destination.
So so it's no longer as easy as it looks. I mean, I think it never was as easy as it looks, but it's a very different ballgame.
Yeah, definitely. So lastly is a message for your beloved pet owners, like anything you want to say to them.
I guess the pet owners that come through our doors, that come to Atlas, we are very fortunate. Honestly speaking, they're very supportive. The rapport we have with them is different from what I actually experienced in my previous workplace. Like they come here because they believe in the mission of the clinic, the philosophy behind it, and then the trust. So I think we're quite lucky. But I guess then beyond the clinic, like to majority of pet owners out there, I guess the general community is more of them. I guess the more of the belief in the vet that you see, like there's a certain subconscious distrust. Like the vet clinic is the vet when they recommend a particular diagnostic test, there's some underlying motivation, the ulterior motive. That's seldom the truth. So it comes back to the reality of things is the dog is unable to verbalize his or her pain, and then we need to do diagnostics. And that's why we're recommending it, because in our professional opinion, that's best for your pet. So you just need to really trust it. That's a big part of the pain of being a vet now is not the general lack of trust. I think like you try to do the best we can, but then just being misunderstood on a regular basis. Like, are you sure you need this? Like, is it because you're not experienced enough? If this one test that we can do instead of recommending these 3 tests.
Oh my god.
But a big part of it is if you look at any medical drama, look at House, for example. There's a patient that comes in, House does like 25 different tests. It's back to medicine is seldom straightforward. So, but
things don't follow the textbook.
Yes, exactly. And honestly speaking, you need to really believe that the vets are here to help. If you wanted to fleece you, there are other ways to do it. Like, there's so many other ways of earning money rather than putting ourselves through this pain. At the end of the day, it is a work of passion. Like,
it is a work of passion.
That's why we show up to work. I guess that's mine. What I like to say is also, we talk about the, sorry.
No, it's okay.
Another flaw of mine is I rant too much, but I guess then, talk about the stereotype of a vet student. So if you go to a party, you meet a vet student, you're like, oh, you must really like animals. That's the knee-jerk comment. And then on the flip side, you go to a party, you meet a stranger, and you find out this stranger is a vet. I was like, oh, vets must really earn a lot. Just a different stereotype. How did a vet student, just because he or she threw a graduation cap, and then the whole script flipped. It's the same person, just because the person graduated. So then that just means how much we are misunderstood. But people don't recognize that the financial challenges is a symptom of how the whole industry is built. Like the vets are at the end of the day the middleman. Like there's a hard cost to medicine. The equipment, you need money. The medicine, you need money. Then a lot of these companies that sell this medicine are listed on the stock exchange. A lot of them are like listed as like the top 20 like COVID resilient shares. Like during COVID, they are still like
because medication you still need it regardless. Isn't it?
So then like the mess. So it's expensive, but it's not because the vet is trying to fleece you. It's just the hard cost of it. That's the reality of things. But because they don't see the big pharma, they see this vet. They're showing them this bill that's like $300-400, and then it's like you want my dog to be better. That's the hard part. So then that's what I think about. Like, how did just because the person graduated, society look at this person differently.
That is so true. I never. That is so true.
Cool,
I guess.
So yay!
So yes, apply to vet school. You can do it.
Yeah, it's all fun.
It's all fun. No, I mean, at the end of the day, it's worth it. But I feel like just more people should be aware of these kind of things. Because like, if you look at the human medical front, there's lots of medical dramas and news things that people know about. but just not much about vets, I suppose, because number one, there's so few of us. The vet life is kind of elusive. No one really knows what's going on because of patient confidentiality and stuff. So yeah, so I hope that helps. And thank you for your time.
Thank you.
And all the lovely food in Singapore.
Yes.
So yeah, bye everybody.
Thank you. Bye bye.